My pick for best brawl is going to have to be Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. It's hard to beat Mechagodzilla. You know, when you beat people over the head and you hear that nice satisfying clang, that really makes it worth all the while.
Welcome back to PrePhoria, presented by EB Games and Jeep. I'm Victor Lucas, and I'm here with four faces you may recognize. And we're meditating on the nominees for the first annual Glow Awards, which will be handed out at G-Phoria in August. Now, whether they're back from the dead or just returning from a long vacation, we saw plenty of old friends make comebacks in the last year. Let's take a look at the nominees for the Best Revival.
Best Revival. Metroid Prime. Rygar, the Legendary Adventure. Castlevania, Harmony of Dissonance. The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Contra, Shattered Soldier.
I'm going to throw this to you, Seamus. Do you think it's easier to bring back a franchise, a beloved franchise, or does it come with its own set of hurdles whenever you bring back somebody that you love?
You kind of face the same problem the sports guys do, because there's a fan base out there, so they want it, right?
Yeah.
But they're ready for you to screw it up, right? You look at the hype around Zelda. People are saying, "Oh God, you know, Link toon shaded. Oh God, you know,
I got
how
something
is
to
that
say
going to
about
work?"
that, Seamus. I have serious feelings about how Zelda went cel-shaded. When I was a kid and I first got the Zelda instruction booklet, I was looking through the game right before I played it, and I'm like, wow, you know, I've been waiting for this game. I saved up my paper route money for 2 months to buy the damn thing. I saw Link on the pages, and he looked like a kid. He looked like this cartoon character kid. And Link now looks like, again, what he was in the original game, in the original, the original
his eyes are
conception
so
of the character.
expressive now and stuff like that.
Totally.
I mean, it's just amazing.
And you play it for 5 minutes,
yeah.
and suddenly you don't think that you're playing something that's all cel-shaded and everything. The game just looks great, and it is what it is.
In that list of games, we also have Rygar, which was sort of an obscure arcade game. It was a popular game for its time, but it certainly had sort of been forgotten, I think, by a great many people in the audience.
It was on the Nintendo, the original Nintendo.
Yeah.
Remember, you couldn't save on that, so I had to, I had to unplug the video cable so my mom could watch like Cantonese soap opera, and the Nintendo would be like glowing, and I remember my mom like turned it off in the middle. It's like, it's getting too hot, it's going to start a fire, and I'm like, no!
We also saw a lot of side-scrollers sort of come back, and I'm wondering, Geoff, I'll ask you, do you think side-scrollers are here to stay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that style of gameplay, I mean, I love, like, you know, in GBA, I think there are a lot of great games that are still side-scrollers. Like Metroid Fusion was a great, really compelling game. There was a huge fan of Contra back in the day. Played the new one, and I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. But I think there's definitely room for great side-scrollers, and I think there's room for people to do creative things in the side-scrolling genre.
I'm not sure if I agree 100% with that, per se, because I don't really see there being any 6 million selling platform game ever again.
Right.
Why do you say that, though?
I think future games are going to be hybrids. I mean, I'd rather play a game more like Metroid Prime, where I'm first person for a while, and then in certain sections it goes to the side-scrolling view. I want a certain amount of depth and variety from that
Viewpoints
experience.
don't determine genres. That's where we're going. All right. Well, from games that people had maybe forgotten about to games that nobody knows about, let's check in with the nominees for the most underrated game.
Most underrated game. Animal Crossing. Sega Soccer Slam. Super Mario Sunshine. The Mark of Kree. War of the Monsters.
Now, I can see Kree and Animal Crossing on that list, but why is Super Mario Sunshine on there?
Super Mario Sunshine took a terrific amount of crap from fans for sort of not measuring up to the level of Mario 64. Yeah. And you know, I played all the way through, and to 120 shines, I might add.
Good for you.
And
it's not an easy game.
I had a great time.
The control in that game is perfect. I haven't played a 3D platform action game like that has
control in Nintendo games are always
but that game in particular, there's so many things that you can do, but
it wasn't the sort of like easy entertainment experience that Mario 64 was and that people were expecting.
You talk about control, and I think one game that I think is underrated there is Mark of Kree, and I think that really pioneered a great new way of sort of, you know, playing a third-person game and the fighting engine and how you could fight multiple enemies at the same time.
I was blown away by the art direction in that game. I just loved the whole sort of way they told the story through
I think it was largely made up of laid-off Disney animators, and there's something very surreal about playing this game with this beautiful Disney-style art, and it's brutal.
I think War of the Monsters is an underrated game. Sony first party had a good year this year. what speaks to me is personality. You know, I looked at games like The Getaway. Hey, you know, it was a bad frame rate when it was at E3, but great personality. It really spoke to me. War of the Monsters was one of those games.
Sure.
The style was amazing.
It's like Vice City did with the 80s, War of the Monsters did with those B movies, you know. To
Right,
take
exactly.
a theme that people universally understand and to put it onto a cool game mechanic is
That'd be great. I mean, if we eventually get to a point with awards like this where it's not, you know, best first-person shooter, but it's best, you know, horror game, or it's best, you know, it's based on sort of the emotional experience of the game as opposed to
The
sort of
story genre rather than the technical genre.
Right, and I think that would be
And Vic,
great.
I have to commend G4 for not basing these awards across platforms.
Right.
I mean, the platform is just a delivery mechanism. What you want is a game. Right?
Yes.
You know, you don't turn on the water and wonder what kind of faucet you have.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
don't
know,
vote on your
want the water.
VCR.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So.
Well, talking about consoles, there's 2 GameCube titles in that list, and I'm wondering if that means that the GameCube is an underrated console.
The GameCube has been underrated by some people because it's sort of viewed as a kid's machine. So it feels very 16-bit in some ways, but you know, I mean, GameCube has a lot of great first-party games. So I think, you know, the people that know the heritage of those games pick them up, but they're having a hard time getting the new people in to play those games, and in some ways it may be underrated.
Well, while the GameCube may be an underrated console, that certainly can't be said about the Game Boy Advance. The GBA is the handheld market, at least for the moment. Here are the nominees for Best Handheld Game.
Best handheld game: Castlevania: Harmony of Dissonance, Metroid Fusion, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, 4 Swords, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, Yoshi's Island: Super Mario Advance 3.
Alan, are there any handheld games that you like better than console games?
I guess there are some, but I just find all handheld games, I'm not good enough of a gamer to play them anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because I used to be better at games, and you know, Metroid Fusion and Zelda, those are games I used to play, and I used to be much better than. I'm playing Super Mario Advance, right? And I was like, I played this game, and I'm like, I can't even get past like the, you know, 3/1. What's going on here? I used to be really good at this.
Game Boy Advance SP is just a brilliant piece of technology.
Absolutely.
I think that's really going to revitalize the handheld market.
I have Fusion, you know, but I'm just scared to put it in. I'm like, oh,
Fusion is, you know, it's a little tough at the beginning, but I mean, I really, on the advice of a friend, of course, which seems to be the trend lately, it's like, you know, I find some of the new games very, very frustrating initially. It's like, no, stick with it, and I stick with it, and Fusion was just great
Well
game.
worth it, well worth it.
That was awesome.
I like Fusion more than Prime. I enjoyed playing that game
I'd
more
say
than
that,
Prime.
but I don't want to get any trouble from anybody.
Right.
It's
Jeff, what's the
unbelievable.
future of the Game Boy Advance?
Eventually, what we've seen a lot of Nintendo doing with the connectivity, so that's a big pitch now, is that, you know, in Madden Football this year, for instance, you'll be able to connect your Game Boy Advance SP to your GameCube and be able to sort of pick your plays on the Game Boy, so your friends can't see them.
I have to admit, at one point, to actually attempting to play Advance Wars while driving. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I was like
Driving while advanced.
kind of stopping the traffic, and I was looking over, and I was thinking, God, maybe I could just like do a couple turns, just a couple turns, like right here while I'm waiting in traffic.
That's psychotic. We're getting ready for the home stretch, but when we come back, we'll be contemplating the most innovative nominees and then spend some quality time pondering the games that transcend all others as we continue our quest for G-Phoria. As we go to break, check out our thoughts on the best rookie games. And remember, this is PrePhoria, the first step on the path to G-Phoria, and the initial revelation of the nominees for the Glow Awards. We'll be right back.
I'll say Animal Crossing, because, hey, you know, I spent tons of time on that game, and you can argue it's pointless, but it's not. It's recreation. There's no ending. I just sit there and fish.